Well, hey everybody, and thanks for tuning in. We're gonna have my friend Emily coming on here in a second. She is the angel coach, and just waiting for her to connect with us here on the live feed. Pretty excited to have her join us. It's been a couple of years since I've interviewed her, and I worked together before, and she actually had a show for a while on Soul Talk Radio. So that was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, and so it's just really good to connect with her again. And we're going to be talking about her message to the planet, because she actually channels the angels. And so this is going to be quite the treat, and having her come on as well and get the experience of the angels. And she and I spoke at the Angel Gathering back in 2014 together in Orlando at Disney World. So that should be that's really cool. So anyways, just kind of, this is our Monday motivation show. And while I'm here, let's just put up Emily's website. It is theangelcoach.com. Just before she jumps on with us, I know she said she'll be on in just a second. And so, anyhow, just some things what we want to chat with. Obviously, in this last week, there's been a lot of things that have just come up, and like the rest of 2020, it has been a how do I say it? A definite challenge for all of us, and there's been some opportunities for us all to face different aspects of ourselves. So yeah, well, that's where we're just going to kind of get a different perspective. It's always me talking on these live feeds, and definitely excited about getting somebody else's feedback. Just messaging her real quick. And so, anyways, I just messaged her, make sure she's able to get the link going. Anyways, some things that I wanted to chat with you guys about there is, just before she jumps on, I am doing a online expo with my friend Elias Petros. We announced that last week. The actual link to sign up for that is down there in the comments, and we have some really cool people coming on. No, I actually don't see you, Emily. Did you click on the link in the did you click on? So I just wanted to kind of tell everybody about that. That is in the description of this this show below. And so just go ahead and, if you're interested, definitely going to be a great bunch of speakers. And so weird, she's saying she's here, but I don't see her. She's not appearing in my pending guests here, so let's see if I can. Let me just Emily, I'll just send you another try. Anyways, I love this the streaming service, but of course, we all have some. There's always some kind of opportunity with everything. We talked about last Wednesday the Lion's Gate and how that energy came through, and I know that a lot of you guys were experiencing different stuff with the Lion's Gate, and I even saw some people go a little crazy, I guess is the best way to state it, I guess, is the I just saw people get, their buttons being pushed and everything else. People really just going through it last week. Last month, full week was the full moon as well. Leading into that, everybody was irritable. There was just a whole bunch of stuff, and I even went to some crazy stuff with work and other things, and so it's definitely some challenging times. So let's see what's going on here. It's so weird that she's not showing up in my guest list. So I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay, all right, she's gonna try it. We're gonna try to see if there's something wrong with the link. What do they say? Murphy's Law. When anything goes wrong, it's definitely gonna go wrong. The nature of my life for 20 some odd years has been training people, and if there is going to be technology or people having issues with technology or anything like that, it's always definitely a challenge. That is so weird. Emily, I just don't see. Oh, there you are. There you are. Here she's coming. She's coming in now. We got her.
Yay!
Where are you at? Is that your office?
This is our studio. This is our studio. It's where I do all my lives, so we pretty much have it set up for that. And when I do my Awaken Superhuman platform and our lives and all that fun stuff, so we have it all set up for that. So I was like, okay, perfect. We'll do it in here. So.
Well, I was just telling them a little bit about the audience, about how you and I spoke at the Angel Gathering together back at Disney World in 2014. We were doing separate workshops, but yeah. So
it seems like a long time ago, and a lot of interesting things have unfolded and amazing along the way too. So yes, I remember vividly that time.
Yeah. So one of the things I was going to bring up is, and I was kind of wanting to do is kind of chat with you. Had kind of inspired me. I'd seen a post of yours, and you were talking about the current energy and everything that's going on. And I know that you channel the angels, you bring them forward. And so I was literally like, one of the things right now I think that we have to give people is some things to navigate through these challenging times. And so I was just really inspired and thought maybe we could bring the angels forward and talk about that as far as like what's going on. And this, energy update, I guess, is another way to put it. So, and go from there. So.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for having me as your guest. And hello, everybody. As I'm sure he's already introduced you, I'm Emily, the Angel Coach. And I am, as he said, I do connect with angels, I connect with masters, I connect with many different divine manifestations that all show up in love. And we've been in a very interesting times, and I know that's an understatement for me to say. And one of the things that I know, and I'm just honored to be able to share here with each of you, is that there's so much, and as I'm talking, I'm audibly hearing stuff already. There's so much that is available to us that is beyond what we can see, right? What we are being told in the media and even in our social media. And there's just so much that's accessible to us. And as I begin this conversation with you, Jeremy, and your tribe, it's important to know that there's so much of us that is being invited to be stepped into during this time. Because even though so much is happening that we can label, right? Our human mind can very easily label as chaotic. It's also a great opportunity for a great rise. It's a great opportunity for us to disengage from a lot of what we've known and disengage from a lot of things that are being given to us and passed down. And I'm audibly hearing the word propaganda. It's like a perfect time for us to disengage from the propaganda that have had us living a certain way and expecting life to unfold a certain way is what I'm audibly hearing. And it's an opportunity for us to rebuild not just ourselves individually and personally, but for us to become part of a bigger movement that's trying to, thank you, they're audibly saying peek through, but I'm being shown curtains. It's like that idea that in so many ways there's something behind the curtains, and we've been kind of living inside a house, let's say, right? We've been living inside a structure. I'm being shown, thank you. And by the way, if you're hearing me for the first time, I'm saying thank you to the guidance that is being given. But I'm being shown we've been living as a collective and as individuals, as humanity in a house. And the house has had builders that has not necessarily been reinforcing our highest nor our best. It's been a way to keep us contained in a house, in a structure. And within that house, there's certain rules and expectations about humanity and our reality and what can and can't happen. But just like any house or any structure or building, there's an there's a level that we can go to, right? We can't go past a certain point unless we either break through the ceiling or break down the walls, or find a way out, right? A door or a window, find a way out. And right now, what's happening, thank you, and what they're showing me is that this house is being rumbled, right? Like just imagine an earthquake happening, because some people are feeling it like an earthquake. You know, it's a little intense and there's a lot of rumble going on that you're like uncertain about. But it's obviously, thank you, they're saying the word obviously, they're throwing it in there. It's obviously an opportunity for us to know ourselves better, that we are meant, thank you, and we've been designed, thank you, and we've been called forth to know that we aren't needing to stay in this house. Of course we can, but we're not meant to. And we're at a time that has been, thank you, has been foretold by many seers and sages and things like that, depending on what you choose to label it. This is that time. And there's been an idea and an illusion that when these times came, thank you, and I've been talking about this in the Awaken Superhuman platform, is the idea that right now it's time for the rainbow tribe. It's time for us to, thank you, to lead the next generation, they're audibly telling me. And it's time for us to understand and know that, like they said, the curtain, right? It's time for us to pull the curtains aside and peek through the window and peek through the opening, and understand that this house that we've been put in, thank you, is not really designed for us to continue to be living in. What I mean by that is that a lot of what we're being told, a lot of what's been passed down from generation to generation has been, thank you, has been plagued, as soon as they want me to say. I'm like, oh, that's an interesting word. Has been plagued with a lot of distortion, thank you, and biases that again are not authentically being delivered from love and light. It's not being delivered from an authentic source of serving the highest and the greatest. So a lot of what's happening, including with the COVID and including these different things that are becoming available for us to know the truth about, is because we are able at this time, we're capable more than we ever realized, to be able to be part of a movement that allows us to create change in our reality that is going to look very differently than what we see right now. And the thing is that the only way to move through change is whether we proactively step in doing it or we get forced into. And right now we are in a place where we're being forced to, but it requires a second step, which is where we choose to take that momentum further and find ourselves in a different place and space as individuals and as a society. And I hope that's making sense, Jeremy. A long conversation there with the different aspects of the structure that we're trying to be pulled out of right now.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Really, it's kind of the same thing that I've been feeling. The first words you said is let's, step outside of the propaganda. And I think kind of the way I've been seeing it, and most of the people watch my thing is I have a different, I just have this feeling or a knowing, I guess is the best way to put it. It's a little different than where it's audible. But I just kept thinking the strong feeling that I need to step outside of what's happening on the surface, the tug pull of the dualities, I guess is the way to put it, and really focusing in on staying centered and balanced so I can see things from a whole perspective. And so what I've been really seeing is right now is that tug pull, like they always say that pearls are formed through wisdom, or pearls are formed through friction. Mm-hmm. And so are diamonds. So what's going through everybody is they're being refined, so to speak. And so, and I kind of feel kind of what you're talking about is that we're, the guidance that you're giving is that we're just really refining ourselves as a consciousness and as a whole, and each individual, of course, going through their own challenges in refinement as well. But on the other end of this, we're going to have a higher state of consciousness and a lot more peace within ourselves. And so.
And one of the things, and they're talking, so they're reminding me two things. One is that, when I was talking, or I've been talking a lot about this, when I began starting to talk more about it, they audibly kept repeating, they kept telling my tribe, my group of people, and my people who follow my guidance and things that get shared through me, it's like that we have to trust the discomfort, right? Because the discomfort is just helping you and helping me and helping us to know that the discomfort is revealing to us that what's been happening and what's been our norm is not our best nor our ideal potential. It's not the best and highest. So trust the discomfort. The discomfort that we're having with the COVID, with the different things that are happening, that is causing discomfort to such a point where we can create from that, thank you, duality, which you said, so that we can, thank you, we can use the fuel from that duality and that contrast so that we can evolve into something better and greater. And another thing that they're sharing, and they've been teaching so much of this, and this is important, that I want to make sure everybody who's listening gets to understand, that we are able to decide. We need to really hone into that clarity and understanding that we get to choose and decide how we move through this current times. And one of the things that I've been encouraging for myself, my family, my loved ones, and even again, the people that I work with, is that you have to decide to choose grace and ease through this process, because there's many different, thank you. I was going to say, and they're telling me to say it another way. So 1 second. Okay. Thank you. There's many different paths, I was going to say, but they want me to say there's many different ways to get through these times. There's many different ways, because the reality is that we are all going to find ourselves in the other side, right? We're all going to find ourselves in the other side, and we have many ways to get there. And the reality is that it's required for each of us to truly own and understand and know that there is a path that is allowing us to understand, embody, and experience all of this with grace and ease. But it requires us to deliver ourselves to that decision every day, multiple times a day, right? When things are showing up, when things are happening outside of us that are causing us to, thank you, to be uncertain, is to remember that there is this certainty that moves through our soul, that moves through our being every day. And that we've been told and programmed and encouraged to forget that certainty and reach out outside ourselves and reach out to others, reach out to our government, our leaders, and other people to give us those answers. But there is this, thank you, they're showing me a river that runs through our bodies, through our soul, through our energy, that gives us access to the certainty required and the clarity required to help us to move forward. Thank you. And one of the things that I've been encouraging people, and they're audibly telling me to remind people, is that it is a time for mindfulness. It's not a time for judgment. It's not a time for reaction. It's a time for us to be mindful so that we can respond. And the more we take time to be in the mindfulness, we can discern what's the next best step to take. But thank you. And they're saying, in the energy of mindfulness, in the energy of that current, that river that I'm being shown, the more we can dwell in that, the more that life can respond to us, right? To our own sense of knowing, to our own sense of, thank you, of understanding of what's possible and what's being pulled through this time. And I know sometimes, because I've heard it, they're like, oh, it's easy for you because you hear the angels, it's easy for, no, it's meant to be easy for all of us. But we've been, thank you, they're showing me a spoon, like a baby being fed, we've been fed all this other stuff, like the propaganda, we've been fed the fear, we've been fed the doubt, we've been fed the chaos, we've been fed all this stuff that has us reacting in such a way that we are seeing it on TV, reacting in such a way that we're having people making the choices that are not necessarily supporting change. We're reacting versus stepping into a place in which we can be more mindful and actually be productive with such steps that can create a powerful change. And people are doing it. Thank you. They're audibly saying that people are doing this, but a majority of people, a majority of our collective majority of us are being fed the fear. And I talk a little bit more of this, Jeremy. I don't know if we've talked about this, but I see waves that sometimes impact our collective. And I also see energies that get imposed in our collective. And there's times I get told to stay out of cities and busy areas because they're showing me energy is going to be put into the collective that people are going to feel agitated. And I actually call it energy forecast. So I share that with my tribe, is that, I'd like to let them know, and even the people that I coach, I'd let them know, hey, I'm being shown in 3 days, this is going to be unfolding. Just make sure you are very mindful. And then I share exercises and things to stay in that state of alignment so people are not feeling the chaos. Because unfortunately, with what's happening, we are being fed like the babies, right? We're right now in this so much in a state of uncertainty. We're like babies because we're trying to figure out what we can do to nourish ourselves through these times.
Right.
That unconsciously, I'm not going to say consciously, unconsciously, we are letting ourselves be delivered into outcomes that are not supporting our best and highest. Because again, we're being fed the fear that keeps us in the dark, let's say, or keeps us in the confusion that doesn't allow us to truly own and understand that there's a lot of things that are being put out there purposefully to create confusion.
Yeah. Yeah, there is on all sides. It's interesting. I see some of these things, and I think one of the biggest confusions I see is that things that make us argue and bicker, because when you're arguing and bicker, you're off center and you're not in alignment with what your soul is telling you or your guidance is telling you. And I see a lot of that, a lot of things just are throwing us off and getting us upset, and causing a oh, sorry, sir. I know I was typing. I was trying to share our show out to other groups, and it's affecting when you're channeling. Sorry about that. But yeah, I kind of I relate to what you're what you're talking about. So there's just a tremendous amount of confusion going on in the world.
Yes. But that's the thing too. Thank you. They're audibly wanting to make sure though there's a flip side, right? There's like the coin, the quarter, let's say, there's the head and the tails. And yes, there is a lot of distortion that can be perceived and seen on one side, but then there's a lot of harmony on the other side. And depending on what side we choose to dwell in and what side we choose to interesting, what side we choose to commit to daily is what we will see more of. Because what happens is, and one of the easiest exercise that I can share with everybody is that I encourage again, people I coach and people I work with, and also just people with the awakened superhuman, for them to see themselves unplugging from the collective. So for some of you, you might see it as a world right here. You might see it as maybe a face that represents the collective or a color. And then I encourage people to go up into the cosmos. To me, that's just a place in space that reminds us that we're more than the physical, we're more than the earth, we're energy. So I encourage people to do a quick breath meditation where they go up into the cosmos. They can see the earth, let's say. And again, that represents the collective. The collective harmony or disharmony. It depends how you want to use your languaging on this. You can see an earth here, and then, oh, you okay? Can you hear me
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, you can see the earth there. And what you could do is, like, once you get into the cosmos, you just decide, I am more soul, I'm energy. And one of the things I personally do is that I really move into owning that I'm energy. And I let myself feel the universe, and I let myself understand I'm in the life force of all that is. This is part of me as much as I'm part of it. And it moves through me. It wants to thrive through me, it wants to love through me. And it's not saying that I am that, but understanding that what that is part of who I am as well. So I become in union with that, and then that love, and then that flow. That could take 1 minute, just deciding, even if you're not someone who's visual, just going through the process. Even if you're thinking, they're audibly telling me, for those that are not visual, you could just say, I'm going into the universe, take a deep breath, even if you're not seeing it, and I see the earth and what represents the collective. And you could just, in your own way, set the intention that you are energy, remind yourself that you're energy and your soul, and then see a cord, and what you're going to do, like an actual outlet cord. And then I tell people to unplug. And as you unplug, you're saying, committing, deciding, I choose to unplug consciously and unconsciously from the collective chaos, from the collective doubt, from the collective fears. I choose to unplug. And I see the unplugging taking place, and I go back into the understanding that I'm more energy than anything. For some reason, I haven't given this guidance or this exercise like this before, but apparently some people who are listening need to hear it this way. Um, for some of you, they're telling me you can visualize or imagine another earth of gold or light, or beautiful harmony, and that you're going to choose to plug into that earth of light and that earth of harmony. This is my first time giving it this way, but apparently it's going to be helping several people who are listening. So I'm plugging from this idea of the earth and things that are in chaos in the collective, and plugging into, got it, plugging into the collective in which light and harmony and love are thriving, right? That energy is what's anchored in, and it's moving through in such a way that it's palpably felt, experienced, touched, and I like to say delicious. It's all delicious, right? So you plug into that. And I won't get into this that much because it's a lot deeper. This is something I've talked about in my group, but it's that we organically and naturally, and this is what they've shared or taught me, is that when we go into the nocturnal, when we go to sleep, we naturally and organically go into or try to go into resonance with the earth. We try to go into resonance with the collective. It's part of what our soul commits to, it's part of what our soul wants to do, because we know we are in union, we know we are part of a oneness. So organically, we go into the intention of going into the resonance of the earth. Right now, the earth and its resonance, it's like, if we could listen to the song or the earth, it has its beautiful harmony, because we could always find the beauty, but there's some distortion with the music, let's say, because of all that's being felt. And as we lean into going into this resonance, we might feel some of that distortion. So an intention too that I want to invite you is that when you go to sleep, set the intention that you're going into harmony, that you're going to choose to go into resonance with this earth, right? With the earth, with the resonance of the earth that is reflecting that which is love and union and connection and contribution. Thank you. And freedom. That part of the resonance of the earth in which light and love is what's thriving. Thank you. And that part of that and resonance in which creation is moving in such a way that it honors the whole, it honors the collective, and it chooses to rebuild in such a way in which love can flow. Authentic love can flow, not the idea of love of what we have in a human mind, like, oh, love, kisses, hugs, and like love, like deep unconditional love that really restores on all levels all that can be needed. Like, it restores everything back into full alignment, into full balance.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love that, because you're one of the things you're talking about when you're talking about unplugging. You
Yes.
know, how often do we try to do that? We don't set the intention. Let me just unplug from
Mhm.
all of the basically everything that I'm a part of. You're still there, but you're making that intention that I'm not going to get caught up in all the energy, so I can just be here in this present moment with myself, and really feel that, and be see above the earth, so to speak, and be energy. So
Yes.
that's a real struggle for people.
And they're moving energy because they're audibly telling me they're moving energy. So for those again hearing me for the first time, when they move energy, it's like what we're talking about or what's being shared is it's a very easy way to shift things, to help release things, to help untangle things, to help literally heal. So I felt the energy move out, because part of what again we've been reinforcing with our sharing and with our guidance is that part of the programming and the illusion that we've taken upon ourselves, right? And I say that because we've been doing it unconsciously, because we've been being fed that from generations to generations, that to be in that state of alignment, or to be in that state of clarity or understanding of what we're talking about, it's hard work. It's not easy, right? You have to do this, you have to do that, you have to. It's like there's so many steps to get there, and we get overcomplicated, right? And things just like we get stressed out with all the steps that are required to supposedly be cleared and aligned and all this stuff. But part of what we're sharing, and part of even what Jeremy just said, is that it's meant to be easy. In this conversation we have with ourselves, again, consciously or unconsciously, oh, it's so hard, it's so hard, it's so hard to stay clear, it's so hard to unplug. But no, it's meant to be easy. We've just been told it's meant to be hard, and for some reason we keep telling ourselves that story, which unfortunately keeps reinforcing the structure we're trapped in. So part of my encouragement is like, no, this is meant to be easy for me. Unplugging is meant to be easy. Like, I literally go up into the cosmos, imagine myself going off there, unplug, and it's that easy, right? It's easy to unplug and be in the moment. It's easy. It's easy to be here with myself, with Jeremy, with you all. It's easy, right? Because that's the most important decision we can make. That being in alignment and being one with source and being light and being love and being loved is easy. Because if we can decide that grace and ease, if we could decide that ease is meant to be part of it, then we can move into that state of surrender in which we can be met in a different way. Because again, life can only respond and offer us what we are expecting of it. And part of what this time is giving us an opportunity, as we are untangling from the norm and being shooken out of living in the norm, is untangling from things that aren't necessarily helping us to construct a healthier version of ourselves or a healthier reality, untangling from those expectations or hidden agendas that we've been told or unconsciously are projecting and forecasting into our future.
So many stories that we create in our minds, right?
So many, so many.
So one of the things I want to just mention, I don't know if you still do this. You used to do workshops at Unity or the Wings
Yeah.
here in St. Petersburg. Are you still doing anything up there? Or?
I'm not, just because I'm here. I'm in South Florida now, and since the COVID, everything's gone virtual. So I do my events virtually and my guidance virtually and my workshops virtually. But before then, I was doing a lot of retreats. So I was getting contracted and traveling a lot. I don't know if you got to see that, which was amazing. So I was speaking in different platforms and in different stages, but not with Wings or Unity. And again, just doing a lot of retreats because it was one of my favorite things to share with people because we went really deep. It gave us a chance to go into the cosmos very quickly in an extended amount of time, if that makes sense. But I'm not doing them anymore. But who knows? Maybe one day it'll align where I'll go back there. But I do miss St. Pete. I miss that area. That was a beautiful place, and I'll make sure to let you know when I'm back in that area. But I do miss it.
Absolutely. And just kind of a funny story is that Emily and we'd spoke at the Angel Gathering together in Orlando, and then I think I messaged her on Facebook. I said, "Do you want to do a radio show?" And she did a radio show on Soul Talk for about a year, didn't she?
Yes, I
And
did. It was a year. You're right.
and then her career just kind of took off. And I remember at one point she actually went to Mount Shasta before I did, because I remember there's this beautiful picture of her meditating in Mount Shasta, and then I went maybe about a year or two after that, and it was just amazing. So, but yeah, so I mean, one of the things that I've been trying to communicate to everybody is that, listen, I know everything is crazy, and on the surface, it seems like a lot. But one of the things Emily mentioned earlier, is sometimes you have to tune back in several times a day, and and so this is not always easy. I mean, we have jobs, we have kids, we have our kids' school, we have traffic, we have COVID going on, we have arguments about politics on a regular basis. There's just so much going on in this year. But Emily, somebody submitted to me at the beginning of the year, and I just love it. They said 2020 is about 2020 vision,
Yeah.
and so it's really been helping me hone in, because you've known me for a while. You probably, in the Pisces that I am, I'm all over the place. I got a million ideas, and whatever sticks to the wall, spaghetti wise, is what I go with. But it's really just because I had so much time, and I'm not sure what year you're talking about. You're doing online stuff. It's really given me an opportunity to focus more, which is,
Yes.
I'm the ADHD of the metaphysical world, and so.
I love it. And as you're talking, they're reminding me a few things. If you don't mind, if I plug
Yeah,
in a
absolutely.
few more things.
Please.
So when everything started happening, and those who are interested, if you go into YouTube on the Awaken Superhuman channel, we talked a lot of tools to protect yourself, let's say, or how to keep yourself in a state of alignment, and also just with your well-being, how to discern, like all this different things, because they're audibly telling me that we gave so many tools, like, and again, it's all free. You can just watch the videos, and we literally channel tools and exercise to keep yourself healthy, to keep yourself in well-being, and to also just maintain a state of alignment through this time. But they're telling me to just make sure I give a few things that we've done, because and actually I'm going to be doing a live on this later tonight or tomorrow on my group. And it's because somebody in my household tested positive. And it's been a really interesting situation, because the symptoms have been hardly any for this person, like at all, to the point that we just thought it was connected to the energy that was clearing, because it was so mild. And not only that, the rest of the home is negative. Now, this is someone who's involved. I mean, it's my partner, so we sleep together, we like nothing, I'm negative and healthy, and all of us are healthy. But part of what I've been doing every day, and also that I put a bubble around myself. And even, as you know, I have a daughter with special needs, feeding tube and all that. So we have to be very careful with her, including a compromised lung, immune system, and all that. And what I do every day, I hold all the kids, and we laugh, because he's like, you did it with all your kids all the kids and yourself, and you didn't do it with me. And I'm like, I know, I was just so focused on the kids and myself. So we laughed about it. But part of what I did is that I wrap us all up in this bubble. And what I do is that I actually reinforce the aura and I reinforce the immune system. Thank you. And they're audibly saying the immunological system. Because one thing it's important for us to understand, we are adaptable and we're very resourceful as humans. As humans, we're very adaptable and resourceful. We're even more adaptable and resourceful as a spirit and as a soul. And when we merge these two things and really allow those things to move in such a flow, big things happen, great things happen, the unthinkable happens. And part of what I want to encourage you is like, see light around yourself in such a way that you are awakening even more your immunological system. You're triggering it to the max. Sorry, somebody walked into the studio and hit the light. Amplified in such a way that you could even see it turning into a shell of protection, right? Like that your aura is becoming a shell of protection. And what I would do, I would literally see every child and myself, and I would see people who may have the virus if we were out or if somebody came into our home. We have a nanny, we have nurses, we have so many people that come in through the home. And I would imagine if they carried anything that they would get close to us and literally this shield would literally transmute whatever was coming through in such a way that our body would be reinforced in its wellness and into its well-being and anchored back into its alignment to feel healthy and feel strong. Do that still every day. And another tool I'm going to give you guys, those of you that are intuitive, which I know all of us are, I encourage you, I check in. And I do this for everything. My partner does it. I feel like it's saved us in so many ways, but I ask red or blue. And sometimes I'll see people in red, like I'll see red around them, like, oh, okay, they're carrying something, or it might even be a cold or something else. But I just know to stay away. And then I'll see blue and I'll ask, is it okay for us to go here? Is it okay for me to meet up with this person? And I'll be shown red or blue. And I even do it with my coaching clients, red or blue. So it's been very supportive. And I have to say that this wave that moved through our home has been very graceful and very easy because we don't have any symptoms. And again, we've all tested positive except him, bless his heart. But he's been doing really good too. He's been really good. Like we've just been celebrating and acknowledging, wow, you've been through this. None of us caught it. And we're still playing. We're still spending time together. We're still in the same bed. We're still all with our family together. None of us have gotten the virus, but he did. And the little symptoms he had were some mild congestion. And again, we just thought it was connected to this Awaken 7-Day challenge because they were doing a clearing. Literally his symptom, that moment, the day that we were doing the clearing of the old is the day that he had the congestion. So we thought it was connected to that. So it's just, thank you. They're audibly going back to the understanding. Be mindful to what it is you can create. Be mindful to what it is you can invite for yourself, the kind of level of protection and life force to move in such a way that you are unstoppable. And if for any reason you get impacted by whatever may be out there, remind that your body has been designed to thrive. Your body has been designed to be resourceful. Your body has been designed to thrive through all circumstances. It's about us taking the time without moving into the fear, because once we move into the fear, that's it. It's like a mudslide they're showing me. If you feed into the fear, you get worried about the fear, it's a mudslide. So the ability to heal, the ability to bring yourself back into wholeness becomes very hard. And understanding that you've been designed as a soul and as a physical body to awaken to well-being. It's been designed to heal. And it's about taking time to nurture that and nourish that in such a way by steering away from fear and steering into love and blessing yourself. Loving and blessing yourself.
I think you say some really strong things there too. A couple things you said is that you actually put the bubble around you and your family. So you're now using your energy, but it's also, this equates back to asking for help, and so you're asking for spirit to help us and protect us and stuff like that. So the fear goes into, I have nothing to turn to. And so what am I going to do? I can't protect myself. But when we expand our energy and protect ourselves, and we ask for help because we know there's an energy or a beingness out there that can protect us. And the only way we can I've been watching Emily present for a long time, and I think I saw you before we ever met speak. But the thank you part I want you guys to notice is the angels give her messages, and then she says thank you. So what is one of the most powerful things in the world is gratitude, and so her gratitude, and I can tell you for a fact because I've seen her off and on for probably 9 to 10 years, because that's about when you started, right?
Yeah.
So and so she's gotten better. Like, she's always been a very clear channel, but I'm just saying, her that gratitude and that constant connection. And so I think that's one of the things I just wanted to point out. And because of your frequency, and even at the beginning of the show and not be able to connect, I started thinking frequency, frequency and technology. And so, I just thought to myself, wow, you've really been practicing walking your talk. And I'm saying this because I want everybody to understand the connection to spirit and understanding that spirit is there to protect you, guide you, and give you guidance, and you give gratitude is the element to protect you. And even your partner who has showed symptoms is fine. And so, and he's with his family and everything else, and that's the blessing, and that's the thing that we have to. That's what I picked up from a lot of that, and I want to make sure that everybody else sees is that gratitude, connection, and asking. And so, there's a very powerful thing there.
And you're reminding me, I know I get visited by different masters, and with my platform, we're actually Ganesh is sharing a lot. So I hope you don't mind real quick because Ganesh
Yeah.
is showing what he showed me today. So he has taught me this before. It's interesting. I was actually cuddling with my daughter like 2, 3 years ago, and he showed up, and he showed me his two hands. And this is my innocence, by the way, because some of you who know Ganesh are like, oh yeah, I know what that is. I don't read anything. I don't watch videos about the different masters or anything. They just show up and give me names, or they'll show up and help me to understand how people know them. So he's shown up for me multiple times in the past, but this specific time, he showed up with that thing he holds on his hand, which I
Mm.
apologize. I cannot consciously identify what it is, but he showed me these two things in the hands, and he taught me about the importance of the giving and the receiving, and how in so
Mm.
many ways there is this malnourishment about us not letting ourselves receive. And I'm getting chills going up my body. And earlier today, that's part of what he was reminding right now, that collectively it's important for us to rebalance these two, and that equilibrium is so essential for us to be able to liberate ourselves out of survival. Because right now he's teaching about unplugging out of survival and really untangling from what's been programmed within our humanity, and that expectation or idea, thank you, they want me to say idea, moving into survival. Because when we're in fear, we go into survival. When we're feeling panicked, we go into survival. When we see the unknown, we go into survival. And it's part of what we've been trained. And our brain does that organically unless you've been very proactively in retraining your brain and rewiring how your brain has been working. So part of what he was talking about, that it's essential, if you were to just work on this, it's essential to understand to let go of that survival brain or survival mind or survival thinking. It is required for us to really step into honing and bringing into equilibrium the giving and the receiving, right? Because again, we become part of a bigger circle when we go into that state of receiving and giving. And understanding that if we just focus on that, if we focus on the giving and receiving and actually bringing that into balance and into equilibrium, we organically unplug from the survival. We organically weed out that programming that we've been entangled with and going into survival. And what does that mean? It's about giving and being of contribution, but also understanding, like you were saying, Jeremy, that we have this amazing life force, this amazing essence of spirit, of source, of light and love outside of us, as much as it is within us, that's trying to also gift to us. It's trying to help us. And it is required for us to lean into receiving that, right? Lean into that support and let ourselves receive as much as we can also offer it. And there's so many times that I get reminded, and for other people too, is that we've been designed to be earth angels for other people in every way and in every form. And sometimes we get the opportunity to do that maybe once in a lifetime, but sometimes we get 20 times the opportunity or 1,000 times to be an earth angel for somebody else. But just like we can be that for somebody else, there is an angel, a divine presence and love that wants to do that for us. And the more we can receive that, the more we can amplify how much we can not only create in this world, but also how much we can contribute in it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Emily, I just wanted to take a second. Everybody, theangelcoach.com, as you guys see, and it's also in the description of the show as well. But what are some? I know you mentioned some workshops and the retreats, and I know last week you were doing a week-long, session or retreat online. Is there anything that you got coming up soon that people can sign up for and be a part of your community, as we say?
And thank you so much. So there is the Angel Coach, which you can visit the website. It's actually getting an uplift. It's actually going to be, they're supposed to launch it next week. That's the hope for the next few days. But my encouragement would be to visit. Actually, you do have to put, and I know this is hard, adding those extra things sometimes when you're just automatically going into the internet, but it's www.awakenedsuperhuman.com. So that's actually the new way that I'm moving forward. Because it's been what I've been getting taught since a little girl, is that it's time for us to awaken that superhuman that is within us. And it's actually a DNA that's within us and an energy that's within us. So in Awakened Superhuman, that's actually what I'm teaching right now. I'm teaching everything they've been teaching me since I was a little girl, and everything that they've been teaching me throughout my life about how to untangle things that are happening in our collective, things that are going to happen, things that did happen, and how to make sure we disengage, and how to become more of a contribution, and how we can actually change things right now, and how it's time. But if you visit awakenedsuperhuman.com, we have the blueprint so people can join, and if they let me know that they came through you, we'll honor the discount that we shared with our platform. But also too, we'll be running again the Awaken Superhuman 7-day challenge. So definitely recommend you join the email list, because we will be announcing that again. And it's amazing, Jeremy, and everybody listening. We had so many people give us feedback that they saw masters, they saw angels, they had miracle things happening in life. It was amazing. And the meditations are all channeled. And a lot of people in the meditation got visited, and they saw it's amazing. So if people join on Facebook, the Awakened Superhuman, they can scroll down and see people's testimonials of things that have been happening. So nice. It's been amazing. Yes.
Wonderful. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Just so you guys know, I have another show coming up on Wednesday at 9 o'clock. I'll be doing my energy update that I do for soul readings. I do a soul reading for consciousness, and then I'll be talking about the current week's energy for this time forward, just past the Lion's Gate, because we're past the Lion's Gate and the full moon from last week. So that was some pretty amazing energy, and we all went through and did some healing and stuff. So much love, and definitely check out Emily and get on her mailing list, and get in some of her workshops, because I can guarantee you'll feel shifts. And so much love, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.